Are private search engines actually private? Let's find out. Today, there are many privacy-orientated search engines which are designed to minimize data harvesting, tracking, and surveillance and censorship. However, a large number of people also don't believe that these so-called private search engines are private, whether that's due to conspiratorial thinking, or evidence of a company secretly selling its users for profits. There are many reasons as to why you should never put all your eggs in one basket. In other words, don't solely trust one privacy-focused company to not expose you or sell you off for a profit, because just like with VPN providers, some private search engines have been known to do dirty business behind closed doors, dirty business that ruins the privacy for the end user. So if you need a reputable and reliable solution, keep watching this video to the end to see my top picks for the best private search engines of 2024. What makes a search engine private? As we all know, you can never be fully anonymous online. The internet was never designed with privacy and anonymity in mind. In fact, it's just another piece of information that can be used against you in a court of law. But even if things don't get to that level, chances are, your mainstream search engine of choice is harvesting huge amounts of data to sell to advertising companies and data brokers. Whether it's Google, Yahoo, Microsoft Bing, or AOL, they all collect and sell your data for a profit. And what's worse, these companies actively destroy innocent civilians' lives for no good reason, so it's dangerous to trust Google or Microsoft with your data, because next thing you know, the police are bashing down your doorstep, taking you away to jail for a crime that you never did, or weren't even part of, and it's all thanks to Microsoft, Google, or one of the big tech companies reporting your user activity to local law enforcement agencies in your area. Law enforcement also don't care if you're innocent. They will purposely try to fit you up for some crazy ass shit that you never did, so even with no evidence to say that you did the crime, bad boys in blue are gonna do everything they can to cover up their shitty ass police incompetence and corruption. So if you think Google can be trusted with your data, think again. They have been known to offshore many users, either due to their governments demanding user data, or Google feels like the person poses a significant threat to their business model, so they decide to sell them off for a profit and then send them to prison to ensure that that person can never pose a threat to Google's business model ever again. However, all of this can easily be avoided if you choose to do the right thing, which is to stop giving away your data to Google and other tech giants. Delete data they already do have, and try to ditch their products and services so you don't end up becoming victim to their nasty business practices, or worse, consequences for hating on a tech company like Google. If Google knows you hate them with a passion, they will try to destroy your life 1,000 times over. These are the things you need to consider when choosing a privacy-focused search engine. Number 1, transparency. The company needs to be honest about any data collection that goes on, even if it's very minimal and the data being collected is not personally identifiable information. The company should still notify you if certain bits of data is retained and collected. For instance, Mojeek, a British independent privacy-orientated search engine, specifically states that no crucial data is gathered from the user. These include things like your IP address, fingerprints, and browser agent, but Mojeek does collect some data, including search terms, thumbnails, and other diagnostic data, but this data is not something that can be used against you. None of it is personally identifiable, which means that even though Mojeek collects snippets of information, it's nowhere near enough to pose a threat to your autonomy and freedom. Compare Mojeek's data collection scheme to Google's. There is literally no comparison between the two, and my assumption is that Mojeek collects snippets of data to improve its services, unlike Google, which collects quite a fair bit of data by comparison, and uses that data to make a profit. If you don't trust Mojeek, you might as well not bother switching from Google or Bing. You keep being the stupid naive fuckwit you are, and when the cops come to arrest you for nothing, don't you dare come crawling back to me crying, and don't say I didn't warn you. This video makes it as clear as day that putting your trust into a big tech giant is very dangerous and potentially life-ruining. Number 2, advertising. If a private search engine shows ads, the company must tell the user if those ads are targeted, and whether or not they earn income if, or when you click on the ads. For example, DuckDuckGo does require ads to make their money, and if you click on ads, they earn a small amount of money through those affiliate links. However, DuckDuckGo does not show you ads based on prior behavior. Instead, it relies purely on keywords and search terms to provide relevant results. Number 3, country of origin. This is extremely important as the country of origin can say a lot about the company you're looking into. For instance, Mojeek is based in Great Britain. You may have heard of the intelligence alliances. These include the Five Eyes, Nine Eyes, and 13-eyed countries. The Five Eyes nations include America, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. The Nine Eyes extends to France, Germany, the Netherlands, and other European countries, and the 13 Eyes includes some Asian countries, amongst others. So if the search engine you want to use is based in a Five Eyes country, you may want to look somewhere else. Search engines that operate under a Five Eyes nation can be forced into collecting data about the user, but they will do everything they can to hide the fact that that is even happening. The American intelligence agencies can force mandatory data collection and retention to the private search engine company, who will have no choice but to comply to avoid facing serious legal consequences. So if this is of great concern, avoid search engines that are based in any intelligence agency alliance, because it's only likely to cause major problems for you in the near future. Number 4, look at the company's business practices, and read articles on any malicious business handlings. If the search engine you're looking into has been known to do shady business behind closed doors, it's best to move away from it to avoid encountering any problems. For example, the French-based Quant search engine, which claims to not store any data, secretly sells your data to Microsoft. Quant has a dirty deal with Microsoft to make their profits, and as a result, Quant has to send some data back to Microsoft, so that Quant makes their profit. But by doing this, you're not gaining any more privacy or protection than if you had just stuck with Google or plain old Bing. So when considering a private search engine, please look at the company's background history. It can say a lot about the trustworthiness of a private search engine. Finally, the last thing you need to look at when considering a private search engine is cost. There are some subscription-based search engines which have no ads, and aim to provide the premium privacy-focused search experience. Good examples of this include Kaji, which was launched in 2018. Kaji is a privacy-focused alternative to Bing. It uses Bing to index results, but there are literally no advertisements in Kaji. However, a free private search engine may be more compelling if you don't want to pay for a private search engine, or you cannot afford such things. And there are way more free private search engines, although this does bring up the question, how does this private search engine company make money? If it's not through ads, it's most likely through user data, so do carefully consider this when choosing a private search engines. If you really need top-notch security and privacy, it might be worth investing some money into Kaji. But if all you need is a private browsing experience, with no extra frills or hassle, then there are many options to choose from. These include Startpage, Jibiru, DuckDuckGo, Mojeek, OneSearch, and Discrete Search, but there are way more privacy-orientated search engines than this, so if you want to know what ones are the best when it comes to privacy, it might be worth reading some reviews, or maybe even check out a Reddit post, because then you're getting real-world opinions from real people. And the best part about this is that if you don't like the private search engines you see, you don't have to use them. Use whatever you want. And really, so few people actually care about privacy. It's an extremely niche group of people who take surveillance and privacy seriously. Most people believe that if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear, and that, oh well, Google only has all my data anyway. Good luck trying to convince those people to use privacy-orientated tools, but as our governments become more fascist, there is a good likelihood that more and more online freedoms will start to be revoked, or vaporized. Thus, it's crucial that we start changing the way we share information online, because if we don't change now, we won't be able to change in the future. Governments all over the world are cracking down on encryption, free and open source software and operating systems, including Linux, Tor browser, and Discord, and it also looks like social media posts can land you in prison these days, so do be very careful about what you say online. Remember, it's the people you are closest to that oftentimes are the ones to hurt you badly might I add, so don't consider Microsoft as a friend, consider them an arch nemesis, because your goal here is to avoid data collection and selling at all costs, not to mention avoiding the rigorous surveillance states we live under, and people only think of dictatorships when they think of state surveillance. But many Western democracies and European nations also have heavy surveillance and censorship, so using private search engines is just the start to becoming more private online. A private search engine on its own will not protect you at all, you need to use it in combination with a private browser, and on top of that, your operating system needs to have no built-in tracking software or telemetry, and even if you can disable it on Windows, there is no guarantee that Microsoft is not secretly collecting data behind closed doors. So for the maximum privacy, install a Linux distribution such as Linux Mint, and if you really need top-notch anonymity, Tails OS or Whonix are great options to consider. These systems are designed to give you close to full anonymity and privacy. The systems run over the Tor network, which means that even the most powerful of entities cannot find out what you're doing. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe.